was here at the Old Melbourne Jail in Russell Street on the morning of the 11th of November 1880 that Ned Kelly was led to the gallows. After a noose had been placed around his neck, Kelly was asked if he had any last words, to which he simply replied,
"Such is life."
A few seconds later, Kelly's lifeless body hung at the end of a rope. Following his execution, Kelly's headless body was buried here in the grounds of the Old Melbourne Jail. Later, his skull was placed in a showcase in the jail's museum, from which it was later stolen and has never been recovered. 132 years on, Australian opinion remains polarised as to whether Kelly should be revered as a folk hero and as a symbol of Irish-Australian resistance against the Anglo-Australian ruling class, or relegated to the pages of history as nothing but a cold-blooded cop killer. Kelly once described himself as a defender of the oppressed, a claim that clearly struck a chord with 32,000 people in Melbourne who just days before his execution signed a petition demanding that his life be spared. But an editorial published by The Age 2 days after Kelly's hanging said precisely those who plead that Kelly was a creature of circumstance and that we're all moulded by our surroundings ought to understand that society is bound to put the brand of failure upon crime. Regardless of how you see him, Kelly's notoriety has made him an iconic figure in Australian history, inspiring movies, literature, folk songs, and paintings depicting his life and times. Undoubtedly the most well-known of all shrines to Kelly is the thriving tourist town of Glenrowan, the location of the bushrangers' famous Last Stand. The majority of people who live at Glenrowan benefit, directly or indirectly, from the Kelly legend. In what might just as well be called Kelly Town, there are souvenirs